welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me again for another night of Facebook Live. I also like to take time out just to recognize those that catch the replay from YouTube and or SoundCloud. It is indeed a blessing to be here with you tonight as I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. Tonight we're finishing up our last topic in our audience pick topics for the week. And so, as I stated last night, I am addressing the topic tonight, marriage maintenance. Now, of course, when people ask you questions or ask you to provide insight as it comes to marriages or any relationships, guys, we know that each of our relationships are different, and I am one of those that believe there is not a one formula that I could sit here and say that it's going to work for everybody. So this is why I call it marriage maintenance. And it's not only about marriages, it's about any relationship that we have. It's going to take maintenance. It's going to take being aware. It's going to take being intentional for those relationships to be as healthy as we would like for them to be. So it takes work, guys. And so that's what I'm going to share, just some insight. Not that I'm giving anybody advice. I am the least likely to be of a marital expert or anything like that. So I'm not giving advice like that, but just share with you my perspective on some things as it relates to not only marriages but other relationships in our lives, in hopes that it gives you the answers and the direction that you seek. So I appreciate you that have already logged on with me tonight, and feel free to send me a shout out. Feel free to say hello. Guys, judging from media and things that have circulated just here in the past hour, I know that the whole world, a whole culture now is just in shock with the news that we're getting streaming through our social media. And not only that, guys, there are so many local families that are hurting and losing loved ones as well. And so let's just be mindful as we continue this journey of 2020, as difficult as it may be for some of us. Let's continue to keep each other lifted up. Let's keep each other in our thoughts. Let's keep each other in our hearts, and let's reach out. Let's send love. I joined one group on social media, and I'm beginning to look at the dynamics of the group, and I see that there are so many hurting people, so many things that are going on, that people are just, we're just needing one another now more than ever. We always hear that, we always say that, but we do. We need one another now more than ever. Hey Rob, how you doing? Glad to have you with me tonight. So let's just keep each other in our thoughts. You think of somebody you haven't spoken to or heard from in a while, or maybe their posts and things like that are kind of looking down and out. Reach out to them. Just a word of comfort, just to let them know that you're thinking about them, can mean a world of a difference for many people. Nonetheless, feel free to like and share this video. Feel free to like and share this video. Also, I'm on a quest to get more subscribers to my YouTube channel, and so I put that link there in the comment section for you as well to check that out. So, marriage maintenance. What is it all about? Marriage good. It's good to know that you're good. So, like I said, there's no one-size-fits-all formula. I just want to share with you some of the things that I do, not only in my marital relationship. Hey, Diane, how are you? But my friendships and just relationships in general. And first and foremost, whatever we put into it is usually what we hope to get out of it. But guys, that's not the way it works. We're in a real, we're in real life. This is a real life situation. These are real people that we're interacting with. So it doesn't always work like that, because um, we can't change other people. And a lot of times this is kind of the mindset we have when we're in relationships and in our marriages, is that we can change the other person, when in reality the one who needs to change, if change is necessary, is us ourselves. So with that being said, in order to maintain the marriage, there has to be a level of respect. There has to be a level of respect. Now, what that looks like for me and what that looks like to you may be two different things. But what I can say is that if you're in a relationship and you find yourself trying to change the other person, then there may be a chance that you're not respecting. You're not at that level of respect to where we need to be. We must respect people for who they are and accept them for who they are. And if it's something that they do that we don't desire, or that we don't like, we must be able to communicate that. We must be able to communicate our needs with a mutual playing field of respect. So it's not blaming, it's not criticizing, it's not being condescending. It is pure, honest conversation. And how can we make this better? Okay? With me and my marriage, my husband is who he is. I don't try to change that. And there are things that are that he may do or that he may say that frustrates me. But I can't cross the line of respect. With that being said, if he's done something or if he said something that frustrates me, or I'm already in a mood and then that just adds fuel on the fire, then that's not the time to have that conversation. So in order to maintain a healthy relationship, in order to maintain that level of respect that we desire for our relationship, then that is not the time to say what it is that I'm feeling, because right now I'm aggravated and I'm feeling irritated. And so anything I say is not going to be respectful. And I'm well aware of that. So it's not the time. It's time for you to pull away. Take that time that you need to relax, to get your thoughts together, to get your emotions under control, and then later come back and visit that situation. So that's what respect is. Respect goes both ways. You have to be able to communicate in a way that we're not minimizing one another, and in a way that we both feel validated at the end of the day. Hey Keisha, how are you, babe? Let's see what my comment. She didn't care. I respect me. Yeah, you have to respect yourself. Now, when we say what other people feel and what they don't feel, we don't have a right to say that. All we know is that what they done made us feel that way, unless they tell us that. Now, if they tell us that, then we look at, did they tell me that while they were emotionally unraveled? Was there already some things going on, or is this the after fact, after we have calmed down and now we're having a conversation and they tell you that they don't care? Then that may just be that it's not a good healthy relationship. It just means that at that point the relationship was toxic, or maybe they entered the relationship one-sided. Maybe they entered the relationship for what you could give them, or what they thought they could have, or for a status, or for image or a name. So we cannot necessarily say what someone else thinks or what they feel unless they verbalize that to us, and verbalize it when there are no emotions all over the place. Some people are just not a good fit, and we just have to respect that. And it's all has to do with respect. We have to respect that some people are just, they just don't mesh. There are people that I can think of now that I know, me being who I am today, I just would not mesh with them. I just I think that it would be toxic. As much of myself that I have learned to tame and control and discipline, um, my thoughts are on not always disciplined, you know, and there are some things that hit me all of a sudden that takes me by storm, that sometimes I may utter something, a word or something like that before I'm able to think. Some people just have that effect on you, and so you have to recognize that, because they're going to be triggering you, they're going to pull your triggers, you know, and they know it, they know it. And anyone who minimizes your feelings, anyone who minimizes um, what's important to you, and fail to validate your concerns when you've communicated that clearly to them, and they continue to break that line of respect, sometimes it's just not a good fit. And sometimes we try to hold things together that you know, maybe you know, your creator, I don't know, maybe your high power is trying to show you something different. Maybe we rush into things, maybe you know, maybe we're just attracting the wrong thing. And so, you know, before my husband and I were together, you know, I was in a standstill, I was in a crossroad, I was in a place of being alone and getting to know who I was. And even when we got together, still in those early phases, you know, guys, for the first 5, 6 years, I don't know how he put up with me. I don't know how I put up with myself. I was just that type of person, you know, and used to doing things my way and having it my way, and very verbal in how I express things, and lack of concern for anybody else's feelings or emotions. So over the years, I've learned to be a little more mild, and I've learned to control, maintain self-control and discipline. But yet at the same time, I've learned respect and compassion for other people. And I still struggle with that. Still struggle with making sure I give him some of my time, and making sure that I make him a priority in my life. But it's all about respect at the end of the day. And so it's about knowing who you are, what works for you. And if someone else's issues, at the end of the day, if someone else's issues drain you, and they don't want you, or they won't respect you, or they minimize you, it's up to you at that point to decide whether or not it's right or wrong for you. Because what I may put up with, you may not. What I may not put up with or feel like I can tolerate, you may feel like you can. And so that's why I say it's all about maintenance. It's all about being intentional. It's all about that line of respect. Whatever it is, it's going to take work, but the work is not and cannot always be one-sided. It has to be a mutual agreement on both sides. On both sides. And it all starts with respect and communication. And if we don't have that, we don't have much of anything else that's going to follow along. Okay? Because you're going to have one constantly being abused and minimized, and the other constantly given. And so we're going to give till we have nothing else to give, because no one else is pouring back into us. So we have to really think about, is it really worth fighting for? And only you know that. And if it's really worth it. At what level do you say no more? At what level do you stop compromising? At what level do you stop giving in? And you have to weigh it out and decide if it's worth it to you and for you. She said she don't, my feelings, yeah. So that's a lack of respect. So anyone that doesn't validate your feelings or care about your feelings, hurting people hurt people. Hurting people hurt people. So for someone that is in a relationship with me, whatever that relationship is, whether it's a marriage, a friendship, a courtship, whatever that looks like, anyone who fails to validate my feelings after they have been communicated to them, then to me, at that point, that's a game changer. At that point, there's no more fight in me. Now, that's for me. Now, for some people, it's different. But for me, that's a no-go. Because people that don't care about your feelings or your emotions or what you're going through, they really, I don't believe at that point, love you. I don't know that they love themselves. I don't think that they have dealt with issues that they have emotionally. And I don't know if they're capable of it. So only you'll know that by what they're communicating to you. And you just have to do the work on yourself at that point, so that when you're ready to get back out in the scene of dating and courtships and marriages and stuff, you will not attract that same energy back to you. Because the issues that we fail to deal with emotionally and from our past relationships, we will drag it along. It shows up in our demeanor. It shows up in our conversations. It shows up in everything we do. No matter how we feel like we've gotten over it, some way or another, the residue still lies. So we really have to dig in and begin the healing process for ourselves. Now, it's one thing to forgive, and then we say we're healed, but healing is deeper than that. And if you've listened to the videos that I talked about in the past, to where I have pulling out these old issues from our closets and really looking at it for what it is and getting that deliverance. If you haven't already seen those videos, then it would be a good idea to go back and look at that series from last week, and just to really dig in and learn the process of grief and being delivered from the strongholds of our past, and how that trauma impacts our lives from day to day. So yeah, love is a tough thing. And you know how we perceive love, even in our marriages, it's not the way sometimes our partners perceive love. You know, some people's love is more of in the physical things that they share. Some people's love is in the service that they give to other people. Some people perceive love as time spent with them. You know, we all perceive love and what a marriage looks like and what a relationship looks like. We all have different perceptions of what that is. Another thing is that to maintain a level of healthy balance in our relationships, I don't believe anyone has the right to tell me how to love them. I don't have the right to tell my husband how to love me. He loves me the way he loves me. Now, if he does something that I do not like, or if he's doing something that gets on my nerve, or if he does something that just crosses the line, then we have to communicate that. But I can't say you love me like this because this is the way I want to be loved, and da 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 da. That's controlling people. Now, if his way of loving me is fixing my coffee at night, if it's ironing my clothes in the morning, if it's making sure that I have gas in the car to get to work, whatever that is, that's his way of loving me. I respect that. I respect that. if my way of loving him is making sure he has dinner cooked every night, and telling him that I appreciate him throughout the day, and make him feel validated, and saying good things, and making sure that he can come home to a clean house, if that's my way of loving him, then that's my way of loving him. He doesn't have the right to tell me I have to love him by doing so and so, or I have to love him by doing so and so. I just don't believe that that's healthy. I believe that at that point is controlling. I think it's manipulating, pulling strings, because I love the way I love. But if he likes a certain thing and he communicates that to me, and I validate that, then I'll try to implement that, because I'll validate how he feels or what he desires. But at the same time, to say that I have to do it this way to prove that I love him and all that, no, I think that crosses the line over into a abusive territory, and I'm not down with that. So I think that is why, to maintain healthy marriages and relationships, it all goes back to being respectful and communicating. And I don't mean communicating to manipulate or to control the situation. I mean true, authentic, honest, open communication, to where there are no underlying motives. When I communicate to my husband about something, I don't have an underlying motive to control or manipulate the situation. It's just true, open communication. I validate what he feels about it, or what he says is about it, and then make a informed decision based upon the feedback that I get back. And so that may not work for everybody. Everybody may not have a relationship to where they can communicate with their spouse or significant other, or their friend. You may not have a relationship that you can communicate. But if you're in one of those situations to where you have a spouse that you just simply cannot communicate with because they have an underlying addiction, or they have underlying mental health issues, or underlying other issues that they have not dealt with, at that point, we are the ones that has to make the adjustments. And we make those adjustments through our attitudes. We make those adjustments to how we're going to interact with them. We make those adjustments to how we are responding to the energy that they're giving out. And we have to be intentional. We have to be self-contained and self-controlled when we're in those situations. Because when there are underlying issues, those underlying issues are not only outside of our control, but 9 times out of 10, it's out of the control of your significant other, your spouse, or whoever. Their sickness, their addiction, their underlying issue controls them. And so at that point, it's about getting the help that they need when they're ready, and you just supporting the process. But we can't support a process by still continuing to give out that negative energy that feeds the behaviors of what they're giving out in the first place. So we're the ones that have to change, even though so much we see them with their issues, and it frustrates us, and we want them to change. We want them to be better, and it affects and impacts our attitudes. It impacts and affects our behaviors, our thoughts, words we say. We have not at that point done everything right. So we have to go back and be intentional and work through what we're doing as a result of that if we want things to change. It's so much easier to point the finger and want somebody else to change, guys. But if it's us, if we're going to stay in there, if it's worth staying in there, if it's worth fighting for, if it's worth working through, we have to be the ones to impact the change. And that change starts with us. And sometimes that's going to mean looking and feeling like you're the weak one because you want to get that grit and just dig in them. Sometimes it's going to look like you got to bite your tongue sometimes when you want to say things. Sometimes you have to be self-controlled when you want to pick up that shoe and chunk it at them just one more time. Sometimes we're just going to have to pick up those dirty clothes and socks and stuff off the floor just one more time, even though it frustrates us and the hamper is just right there next to it. You know, it's so many things that we allow to get in our sacred space that is unnecessary. We're giving so much energy to it, we're giving away our peace at that point. And it's going to be more difficult to maintain the relationship when we continue to give our peace away. So that may mean just leave it laying there on the floor. It may mean just, agree with them. If they say something manipulative or condescending about us, we may just have to agree with what they say. They may want us to just take a walk with them, and we don't want to be bothered with them. Sometimes it just means sometimes getting over yourself and just doing something that they want you to do with them sometimes. It's just what it looks like. Let me get back to the comments here. Diane says, love is a gift from God. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that love is different for everybody. That love is different for everybody because we all have different relationships with our God. You know, we all, our relationships are not on the same level. Our relationships, sometimes we get different perceptions of what that love is, what it looks like, what it feels like. And sometimes, we just have to respect that their love, as it is gifted to them from their God, it's on their level, at a level in which they perceive, not ours. So we don't want to mistake that just because love is a gift from God, that we feel like just because we know God on this level and our love that he has revealed to us, that our mate has that same level of love that they know. And so sometimes it can look just a little bit different. Someone says he irons. Yes, my husband does iron. I do not iron. My husband does. He's very good, and he takes good care of his wife, and that's why I have to, it could be easy for me to overlook the little things that he does and not give him recognition or show appreciation for that. But I let him know often that I love him and that I appreciate the things that he does. And that those things mean a lot. And guys, when we're looking at our own relationships, when we're looking at the things that we have going on in our house and with our spouse and with our mates, we could be missing the little things. And sometimes the dynamics change when you just take the time to recognize those little things that are going on and that are being done in your house or in your relationship that you failed to acknowledge. So yes, just the little things. You pick that paper up off the floor. Oh, I appreciate you bending over picking that paper up off the floor. You have a husband that stays out all night and parties and drunk and comes home high. Oh, honey, I appreciate you coming home. I'm glad you're home, and I'm glad you made it home safe. It's just little things like that. We have to find the good that is going on if our relationship is worth salvaging. And that's important. Even with me, I don't do a whole lot of things around the house. I spend more time sitting on the couch and in front of the computer than I do anything, doing my work, because a lot of my work is based on technology and different things like that. So it's a lot of things in the house that when it gets done, I'm not the one that's doing it. And guys, my husband, he works hard. He works all day, every day. But what's important to me is that when he comes home, I want to make sure he has a nice meal to eat. you know, and if I haven't cooked, I want to make sure that I put something on the table for him to eat, or we talk about grabbing something to eat or whatever. But whatever the case, what I do, I want to feel appreciated for what I do, and for everything that he does, that he does, that I know he shouldn't have to come in the house and do, but he does. I want him to feel appreciated and validated. So think about those things in your relationship. What are you leaving left unsaid? A simple thank you, or a simple I love you, or a simple I appreciate, and be specific what it is. Let them know that you recognize the things that they're doing. Those things mean a lot. Hey Irma, how are you? Good night to you too, honey. I appreciate you tuning in and hoping that you're feeling better. Yes, hoping that you are feeling better. And thanks for affirming what I've said. Thanks for affirming that. That also means a lot, because you know all of our relationships are different. So if you guys, while I'm getting ready to try to wind down, if you have a comment or a question that I have not addressed yet as it relates to maintaining our marriages and our relationships, if there's a question that you have specifically, feel free to put it in the comment section. I'll give us a few minutes to make sure that I can address that question for you. And if I can't address it while we're here live, I will get back with you after I stop the videotaping tonight. But marriage maintenance, you know, there's no one size fits all. It's all about respect. It's all about communicating and just making sure that we don't have an underlying agenda. No strings attached. You know, people deserve to be appreciated. People deserve to be validated. And if it's worth fighting for, all I'm going to say is fight. And if it's not worth fighting for, then communicate and bow out. And it's not for anybody else to say. And it's not for anybody else to judge. It's nothing to feel guilty about. Sometimes we're just not equally yoked. Sometimes the relationships are so toxic that it's just not worth fighting for. And only you can decide that. Only you can decide that. But it is important to communicate that. It is very important to communicate that. Having no expectation spares us from so many heartaches and headaches. Yes. I am still achy, but dealing with it. I am glad you are finding some level of comfort and hope that you continue to heal and that your pain relieves soon, Irma. Robert says, and be happy. Yeah, you have to find that. But what I find is that my peace is more important than anything. You know, if I got my peace, I'm okay. I have peace, I'm okay. I cannot allow toxicity to invade my sacred place. Because if it begins to invade your sacred place, you're going to find that you're going to be bitter. You're going to find that you're going to be angry. You're going to find that you're going to be frustrated. And you're going to find that the residue is going to show up everywhere. And it's going to make decisions for you. So you do not want to continue to inflict the pain upon you after the damage has been done. After the damage has been done, it's time to begin to heal, not to continue to re-traumatize yourself by reliving those words that have been said, reliving those events that have occurred, and reliving that feeling of guilt and things like that has been imposed upon you. Peace of mind is number one for me. Yes, ma'am. And so many of us sacrifice our peace for our relationship. And so, I mean, we have some decisions to make, guys, and only you can do that. Only you can affirm what is best for you in your relationship. I can't say that what works for me in my relationship is going to work for you, but I can say that I'm doing what it takes for my relationship. So it's not for me to judge you and yours, or to try to give you advice to the point to where my advice does more damage to your relationship than good. And that's where so many of us are reading books, and we're getting advice from friends and family, and we're listening to this girl, we're listening to that girl about our relationships. But what works for them 9 times out of 10 may not work for you. You have to take in all the information and all the resources that you can, and then filter it, and only take and apply the things that works for you. Okay? I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. This is the last of our audience pick topics. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that heart button. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that share button. I look forward to being here with you tomorrow night as we begin our regular topic sessions. And if you have a question or comment about marriage maintenance, feel free to leave it in the comment section. I'll be sure to get back and respond to you as soon as before the night is over. And nonetheless, I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. Good night, everybody.